Journalists collect and gather information, do the reporting, tell cool stories, make it a cool kid presentation, and also distribute the news. So that's who we are in a nutshell. I think we're based at Northwestern University, and we are a collaboration between two schools there, the Medill School of Journalism and the McCormick School of Engineering. We've had an earnest existence of about 2 years. We were founded a little bit earlier than 2 years ago, about 2.5 years ago. But in earnest, we've been creating and making things for about 2 years. And then we've been here before, there's lots of new faces out there, and we're excited to be back. A few of these tools you guys will have seen last year for the block-by-block presentation, but there were 3 that I thought would be cool to talk about with you guys. Timeline.js, which is a new tool, which is an old tool for us, you guys probably saw it last year, is a cool way to build interactive media-rich timelines using nothing more than a Google spreadsheet. So it's a really low level to get in. You need hardly any technical savvy at all, but it's been a really popular tool for us. Soundsite.js is a way to embed audio and stories using nothing more than sort of what looks like a hyperlink and behaves like a hyperlink. And we've got a new tool that came out about 2 weeks ago called Quick Explorer, which is more of an experiment, but it's a cool tool, and people have found uses for it. It's a way for monitoring Twitter. So you have a Twitter list of like local politicians or like local leaders. It's a cool way to learn what the discussion is on Twitter among those people. It's also a good way to discover hashtags. If you're trying to promote a tweet or promote a story, this will help you find perhaps a hashtag that works. Again, we're experimental, so there will be a few bumps along the way, I think, but hopefully not too many. And I really want this to be more of like a conversation. So if there are tools that you guys know of that are cool, like maybe at the end we can talk about them or shout them out as we go along, that's good too. First up, so in the meantime, let's talk about what we do. Timeline.js, as I said, is a way to create beautifully crafted timelines that are easy and intuitive to use. It's been really popular. More than 160,000 people around the world have used Timeline.js to tell stories. It's been seen by more than 15 million people. You can see a few of the folks that have used it here. Le Monde in France, Radiolab, VH1, the Denver Post used it to tell the story of the Aurora Theater shooting and ended up submitting an instance of Timeline.js with their Pulitzer Prize-winning package. Giga Home, the Spokesman Review, San Antonio Express News. So a lot of folks have used this tool. And we talk about the big guys, of course, but plenty of smaller shops have used it as well. One cool thing about it is that it's so media rich. So up here at the top, we have an example of Timeline. This is the basic layout of a slide. Up here we have a media, some sort of media, and this could be a video, a picture, a tweet, a blog quote, and then over here we have a headline, a little bit of body copy, and then down here we have sort of a preview of what's to come. And as you click through, you can see the different types of media that are available. So here's a static image with a little bit of copy around it, a slide with just plain text on it. Here's a YouTube video that will play within Timeline, another YouTube video, Wikipedia. If you want to reference Wikipedia at all, you just copy and paste the URL of the page that you want to do, and it'll generate this preview of the Wikipedia page, on and on. A website screenshot you can create just by cutting and pasting the URL and give you a screenshot of that website. Google Maps are integrated. And finally, SoundSite, or SoundCloud, is sort of the last one. A few cool examples. Al Jazeera America picked it up not too long ago to tell the story of Egypt and sort of the revolution there. So you've got a bunch of different stuff. This is a cool example because it's so clean. Al Jazeera America doesn't have much on their page. So it makes like it's a really good instance of timeline. But it doesn't matter sort of what content your box is, how big that content box is, timeline will adjust automatically to the size. So no need to worry about like, oh, I don't want my content to wall across the page, I have a right rail or a left rail, like timeline will work in almost any content tool you've got. It's also open source, which means that anybody can take the tool and do what they want with it. Most folks use it as you designed it, which is a white background and a little bit of gray highlights. But there is someone who reimagined it as a portfolio. So portfolios can be chronological too, and timeline's great for chronological stories. So he took it and he's skilled with CSS, jQuery, and HTML, so he was able to put together a modified version of timeline. So you can see here, the bones are basically the same. You've got content up here, a preview of what's to come down here, and then sort of the navigation over here. But the background's obviously significantly different. It's got a different look and feel. The font's a little bit different, but all the functionality is still there. So as you click through, all of this stuff will play right in timeline, both video and audio. So it's just a cool instance of like, you know, this is a tool, you've got the bones there, and with just a little bit of tweaking, you can create something that's really unique in your own. So people
all those style changes with the CSS?
Yeah, and I think a little bit jQuery. I'd have to double check. But this is a useful tutorial. So if you're looking to learn more, he's got a complete explanation here. And this links from the timeline.nightlab.com homepage. So he gives you a total explanation of what he's done and how each of the changes manifest themselves in the actual timeline install. So it's really cool. And then to make it, it's super simple to come up with a timeline. Make a timeline now, you come to timeline.nightlab.com, make a timeline now. You follow the steps 1, 2, 3, Google spreadsheet template. And each of these columns basically has the information you need on each slide. So start date, end date, headline, text. The media you want to include, again, that's videos, photos, tweets. The media credit, the media caption, and then a thumbnail, which you don't really need to mess with unless you want something very specific. And the type, basically, there's a title slide and everything else. So a title slide has a little bit different styling. So you click use this template, and it becomes your own. It goes right to your Google Drive. I built one this morning on the Hancock Tower, since we're in Chicago, thinking, you know, we're going to tell the history of the Hancock Tower. I'd go to Flickr, I type in Hancock Tower. Here's a cool photo of the Hancock Tower. Copy the URL, and then come back to my spreadsheet that I started to build, find the media column, go up here, cut and paste that link right into the spreadsheet. Do that for every instance that I want to tell. Every slide gets its own line, so it's really simple. I've included a map instance, a Flickr photo, a YouTube video, a Wikipedia page, and then a tweet here at the end. From here, I go publish to web. If you click automatically republish when changes are made, any changes you make in the spreadsheet automatically shows up on your site, which is a pretty cool feature. Come down here, copy this, come back here, and copy and paste that URL into this box. There's a few options here that you need not really worry about. Quick preview, and here it is. That's the photo we chose. You can navigate through. Here's the other media I put in, a map, a Flickr photo, a YouTube video, on and on and on. For most people that's good enough, but there are a few little tweaks you can make without any technical knowledge. So what percent of your page do you want to take up? 100%. Height, 650 pixels. Language, English, I imagine is what most of you are interested in, but there's 42 other languages that'll do timeline, and if there's one that is not shown there, send us a translation and we'll add it in. You can change how the maps look. You can change the fonts, which is pretty cool. Really easy with just a click. So instead of that heavier font, you end up with this more refined looking font down here. So again, a really easy way to tell interactive timelines, good for chronologies, and it's been used by folks all over the world. So it's a great tool for us, and definitely one that has gotten us the most attention. So we're hoping to replicate that at some point, but we haven't done it yet. Any questions?
I Would it work with other MediaWiki servers, or is it just Wikipedia?
Right now, I don't know the answer to that question, actually. I imagine it's just Wikipedia, but if we could experiment with it, or you could experiment with it, and you'd know pretty quickly. We're not in active development on that. We're working on other projects, so we're not probably going to update it, but if you made a request, if there's a possibility that that would be honored at some point down the road. So if you have other media that you're always using, we definitely want to know about it. SoundSight's the next tool that we've gotten a lot of pickup with. It basically makes inline audio easy and seamless. What we're talking about there is taking audio and integrating it with your story. So this was a really cool project for us because it was developed by a student at Northwestern named Tyler Fisher. He's an undergrad. He was a sophomore, I think, last year when he built this, and just is a really bright kid. Started out as a music major and switched to journalism, but was interested in writing about music. So he had this idea that he wanted to be able to not only describe the music in text, but to have people listen to it fairly easily. So you can see this bit here. He's talking about a band called Tame Impala. And the description is big one-note guitar riffs, shuffle and stomp. And I'm not sure you guys will be able to hear this, but as you click play, you hear the music that's described there. So it's a really cool way to keep a reader engaged in the story and keep them reading, but be able to give them a little bit richer of an experience. We've also come across other use cases. 911 calls are really cool. Interesting, I guess I should say. The Denver Post, again, did a really cool thing with 911 calls in the Aurora Theater shooting where they played the calls from the theater, and like the impact of the writing was really good, but to hear the actual calls was like almost overwhelming. You really got a sense of like how scary it was, and what the police were going through, and what the people on their personal cell phones were going through. So the same use case, or the same interaction. Stephanie Hooks tweeted for help after collapsing on the floor of her South Los Angeles home. "I can't breathe, help me," the 53-year-old grandmother wailed as frantic as family members, da-da-da-da. And so when you click play, you get a little bit of what she said. Same thing for natural sound. Again, going back to Egypt, the crowd was as large as any that had gathered in the square since the protests that forced out President Hosni Mubarak. And so you click play, and you get basically the roar of the crowd, which is a cool way to do it. WBZ's picked it up, so they did a story on this guy, Chance the Rapper. Another really good instance of it because, you know, he's got these sort of compelling lyrics, and ooh, man, how do they sound when he does it? You know, I know how they sound in my head when I read through it, but it's a whole other thing to be able to hear it from the guy himself. Again, this is an open source project, so you can take the code and sort of manipulate it to do what you want. We imagined it as an inline player, as I've just shown, but there's Education Week did a really cool project with it. They're basically saying, these are the people you need to know about in education, meet the players, they give a short quote from each of them, and then they've just done a little bit of styling to make it look like a button. So ordinarily it's inline and that's styled for you by us. But these guys have taken just a little bit of code and made it look like a button. And it plays just as well as it does in line. Sorry, you can't hear it. It's kind of a cool demonstration. So, another project that's done well for us. Again, super easy to do. If you want to get started, come to soundsite.nightlife.com. Make a clip now. We're going to do that Tame Impala song. So we've gone through, so it's integrated with SoundCloud. I mentioned that. But it's not just any audio anywhere on the web. It's got to be on SoundCloud. So going back to the Denver Post example, they uploaded all of their 911 calls to SoundCloud and used that to tell a story about their work and their shootings. So what we do, copy this URL here, go back to SoundSite, connect. It brings up basically the file you want, and it's push button easy. So we know that those thick one-note guitar riffs are at the beginning of the song, so we're going to say set from player. It's at 0, 0, 0 right now. We're going to play it through. We let it play for 4.8 seconds. The default text is listen, but we want it to be thick, one note, guitar, riffs. So that's super simple. You type in what you actually want the highlighted text to be. This is as if it were in a link. Create the clip. And down here you have the embed code. So you put this in your story. So I just copied that. We've got this stuff on a page. So this is WordPress. I'm sure some of you use WordPress. Go to the text editor. This is it. This is the bit of code that I just copied. Copy and paste it in there. In the page, you get this. There is one more step that I just skipped over. At the top of the page, you need to, so you cut and paste this where you want the actual audio to play. And then there's this additional HTML that you put at the top of your text editor. And so now when you take a look at it, actually the preview doesn't work in this for some reason, but if you come here, you can watch it load. It takes just a second for it to show up. And so here you have your text, pick one note guitar riffs, and it plays. So pretty straightforward tool, really fun. Again, take the code, take the bones, and mess around with it and make it your own if that suits you, or just use it out of the box. We have found if you're going to give it to an editor or just contribute to your WordPress site, they need to have a certain level of control over the site, so either an editor or an admin to make it work. Otherwise, WordPress strips out the HTML they've added. So make sure that they've got the proper, if you find yourself using it and having trouble, make sure that the right permissions are in place. So that's sort of SoundSite in a nutshell. Any questions? Yes, sir.
That goes in the top of the page, not the head of the page. That second bit of code.
Right, correct. So, yeah, just put it, it's basically made to work with WYSIWYG editors for any CMS you've got. So put it above the content that you want, the words you want highlighted. Yes?
So I noticed you hit the preview button and it didn't run. That is actually a feature of WordPress that if there's a script in the post, you hit preview, it triggers a browser security thing that stops that script running. So just it bites lots of different embeds. It bites us with Repost. It bites you guys with that. Storify.
Okay.
So lots of people have this issue. If you save it and then use the view page at the top, in the top left, it works. But the preview change,
Okay.
never preview a JavaScript on a post.
Okay.
It's just a weirdness of WordPress.
Awesome. That's really good information. Thank you. Yes?
Is there a limit on the length of a clip?
There's not a limit. It gets a little bit heavier. So the WVZ page that I showed you, they've got a lot of different clips in there. It does take just a little bit of time for them all to load. So it does make the pages a little bit slower, but not significantly. You can watch it load here. So now we're back to those clips already. So there's not a limit. Yes, sir.
The second chunk of code that goes at the top, one of those with multiples, or you have to do that?
Just one time, and then all the other pieces of text that you want to highlight and have play are ready to go. Yes?
If you study the clicks, like how they might compare to having video on your site, I mean, do more people click on these than they might click on a video?
We don't actually have that. We don't have that data at all. And actually, I don't even know if we thought to do it. So that's a good bit of research we could do. I'd be interested to know. I would think that people would be curious, kind of. But again, that's just a hunch. I have no idea. Anybody else? Cool. Definitely pick that one up. And if you use it, let us know. One of the faults of SoundSite is that we have no way to track where it's been used. So we only know about it if we stumble across it or somebody tweets at us or something like that. So if you pick this stuff up, definitely let us know. We'd love to send out a tweet, say, look at this awesome bit of SoundSite on this local site somewhere. So now sort of getting to more experimental stuff. We launched this product last week called Twixplorer, which actually has gotten like a lot of friendly press, and like we didn't know what we were going to do when we launched it. It came out of like this random research project of a professor at Northwestern. He's a journalist. He's working on a book about Michelle Obama, and he was like, man, I'm looking at Twitter every day, and it's just so hard to record those conversations, and it's so hard to get like an overall gist of what's happening on Twitter. So to Explorer was born out of that idea and wanted to solve that problem for this specific person. At Northwestern, there's this class called Collaborative Innovations in Technology. They did a prototype, and then we took their prototype and built it out to sort of a more robust product. I'm logged in as Night Lab. I come here to search. And again, it's experimental, so we've got a few notes that we're working on. But so say you're working on a story about the shutdown. It looks at Twitter. It's actually failed. And you find sort of the top tweets. It looks at the 500 most recent tweets. For this search, it's gotten 403 tweets, 97 retweets, and this is basically the standard Twitter search over here. It's just a list of recent tweets, somewhat organized by most popular. So if there's a tweet that's gotten 1,000 retweets up here, or in this list, it'll show up at the top, followed by less popular tweets down below. What Explorer actually does is look for the most common terms, hashtags, and links shared in tweets that mention shutdown. So here you can see, and Barack Obama, Obama bill, pay, pass, budget, a few sort of interesting, perhaps not correct things. That's it, Obama. And earlier today, this was actually really telling because it's, it was all about how they're going to offer back pay. So in this list was back pay up a bunch of time. And if you didn't know about that, the cool way to discover that in the story. What's really cool though is like, what hashtag do I use? Is it Gov shutdown? Is it shutdown Gov? What's the most popular hashtag on Twitter? You can see here that the pending hashtag to a tweet would be the most likely to give it circulation. You can also find sort of the partisan tweet or partisan hashtags. Tea Party shutdown. There was one earlier that was like Obama shutdown. Obamacare is probably a partisan tweet. So kind of interesting. And then also it shows you the top links that are being shared. Typically these are mainstream news organizations, but here we have one from YouTube. So if you want to preview it, click that button, and up pops the clip. So it's pretty interesting. The last feature of this is you can, like, what does this end mean? It's so popular. And that filter. So you can see the term that you search for up here and the filters here. And this government shutdown, these are probably all going to be retweets. So sort of an interesting tool. One of the most interesting aspects of it is if you're a list user, people think it's really cool for lists. So say you've got, again, like a number of local politicians that you follow. I'm sorry, did you have a question?
No.
Sorry. So you've got a few lists you follow. You can quickly keep track of those lists. So the Senate, what's the Senate talking about today? And these are lists that you either build yourself or that you subscribe to. It'll do the same sort of search. What are the top terms? What are the top hashtags? Top links? And then again, like most popular tweets. So John McCain isn't worried about the shutdown at all. He's happy to have football on, which is cool. The last sort of part of this and where the research comes back into play is you can save a snapshot of this. So this is saved forever as, this is Twitter, this is the list as it was on October 5th, 2013 at whatever, 4 o'clock I guess. So kind of interesting. And that's just sort of a tool that we came up with that's new and it's gotten a lot of press. Any questions on that?
Can you embed those tweets?
You can't, that's on the list. So integration with like Storify is that what you're looking for?
If you wanted to embed the tweets you're looking for on your own blog.
Not without a lot of tweaking. So you mean you could follow the links to Twitter and collect them that way, but there's not like just a single click function. That's a good idea. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Can you customize, like, use a hashtag to see? Since we're hyperlocal, we might be looking for something that's more in our community that's not of national interest.
Sure. So do you have one in mind?
Not right now, but maybe just a local community. Go with Monroe, see if there's anything that mentions Monroe. Like on a Friday night, a high school game that you might want to.
Sure. So So how about like, my high school was the Regis Raiders.
There you go.
And so you can see here that there's not a ton of tweets about that, 33 tweets, 79 retweets. There's a guy talking about his mother. You get the results, you get some results from Regis. Regis is a Jesuit school, so you get that. And then, you know, they must have played Thunder Ridge. Aurora is where the town, where Regis is located, so it works. For most search terms, obviously, if it's a local issue, there will be fewer tweets to look at than noise. So, I mean, I think that, like, it's definitely useful for that. It's probably best if the issue is getting a lot of attention, a lot of heat, because the analysis is more robust with more tweets to look at. Yes, sir.
Yeah, actually, sort of on the same line. When you set up the list, that's showing a list of, if you have create a list that's showing people who, for example, that was showing people who were commenting on the original search term within the list, or that's just a general list?
That's just the list.
Okay. So it doesn't cross-reference with shutdown?
Well, you could. So you could go to Senate, view that list, and you can't search for that.
Right.
There's a, I guess, a distinction between search and filter in computer science that I can't explain very well, but you can say, who's talking about shutdown, so you filter by...
You go on your list of talking about the top keyword.
Yeah.
Okay, and the keyword, the terms are coming up based in general, not on the shutdown. That's what I'm getting a little confused about, is what.
So this is just a list, just list without any other input at all. So this
Okay,
is,
and the terms were coming from what was coming from the list itself?
yes.
Besides, that's what I was saying, the Capitol Police or...
Yep, most common terms that the people on the list
Yeah,
agree
I
about.
guess my follow-up was, I was just wondering, yeah, is whether or not you were thinking integrate maybe, or could finally integrate, go back and what you're saying, some kind of geographic location tag, so you like everybody who's within a certain radius of
Yeah,
the location.
so that's awesome.
What they're talking about.
Right. So that's come up in the 2 weeks that we talked about this or had this project out. That's like a feature that everybody wants. What we found is that there are not very many, there's not a great way to find tweets from a local area. A certain number of people do geotag their tweets, but it's really small. It's a very small percentage of Twitter users. So we have another project called Neighborhood Buzz, which does look at geography and tweets and what people in certain geographies are tweeting about most. And that project's Achilles heel, and it's safe to say that just not many people geotag their tweets, so it's hard to do a really great analysis.
That one in sort of, you know, is that been released or?
Yeah, we can look at it.
Not really, not done.
Well, it's out there, so you can definitely look at it. We're aware that there's a lot of faults with this system. So we'll just look at Chicago. This one you can't search by. It has these 3 set categories. This is Chicago as a whole. So lots of people talk about arts, business, entertainment, food, healthy living, etc. You click this arts tab. Again, it's not a great interface, but this sort of, it looks all gray or sort of light red. And that's who talks about arts the most. So there's just a very subtle change with each of these. So it's not I don't think that the interface is 100%, and we can make it better, but again, from this, we know that not many people geotag their tweets. So, and this is over a long period of time. We've collected these 9,000 tweets about business in Chicago, for example. So if you're looking for a specific news issue, it's probably even less. So that's what we know about geotag. Yes, sir.
Not related to one of the tools you've shown us, but just sort of audio question in general. Is there anything like a DVR for audio? That would be an app or something on a computer where you could pause a live meeting that you're working on?
Maybe. I mean, I know that there was an app released, I think 3 or 4 months ago that basically said, I think by URL you could say, save to such and such an app. It would go in a list of things. But I don't know that you could pause something midstream and then come back to that exact spot. But there are apps that I guess try to tackle some audio problems and enhance audio listening. Anybody have heard of one? So that's us in a nutshell. That's sort of like all of our big projects recently. A few that we presented last year, we can go over those if you guys weren't around. If you're interested in any of our projects, you can go to projects.netlab.com. One of the ones that's under development is called Slimformation. I'm not sure how great of interest this would be to you guys, but it is a cool experiment. The idea here is that we spend a lot of time online, and we should be eating vegetables and consuming the equivalent of vegetables online. But of course, like we're eating pixie sticks a lot of the time too. So again, this is very early stages, but it's a browser plugin that tells you what you read most. So my reading activity, I've got, what is that? Other is a big chunk. Politics, technology, and entertainment are the biggest sort of categories. This is, you're going to see some huge mistakes here, but politics is saying timeline.nightlab.com is part of my reading list, which obviously is miscategorized. Gawker, probably not great. Chicago Reader, probably also not. Politics. But this is, again, the prototype that came out of a class, and we're just getting started developing this, but that's where it's headed. The other aspect of this is it lets you set goals. So I can say, I want to read, more business. Sorry, I'm going to edit. And I want to read more business. I want to read more technology, 0 sport, 0 entertainment, and a little bit of science. I can save those and go to prescription. And ideally, this will tell me what to read. So about technology, what should I read? We're not sure yet. Sports. Shoot. So again, experimental. Hopefully that'll come in a few weeks.
And so would those be suggested links that would appear underneath?
Right. So the idea is like we'll help you reach your goals. So if you want to, read more vegetable style news, this will help you get there.
Well, I get the vegetable reference, but is there something more to that?
Basically we're hoping that, are you guys familiar with the Information Diet, that book? It's a pretty cool book that basically makes the analogy of, what I've just tried to do. That is, our information, there's a ton of information out there, and going online is like going to a grocery store, and you can shop for vegetables and tofu and, other stuff that's good for you, or you can go to the candy aisle. And then you have to be particular about what you read and what you consume, and make sure that you're getting stuff that's worthwhile and educational and not spending too much time on stuff that doesn't give you anything other than like quick entertainment.
So does it pull from traditional legacy media sites?
It does, yeah. So it's not pulling from anywhere in particular. It's just merely tracking where I've spent my time recently. So this could easily be, the New York Times or Wall Street Journal for business.
But when it
recommends?
Yeah, suggested link, is that pulling from traditional legacy media?
I'm actually not sure about that, and I'm not sure that we have that figured out just yet. What would your preference be, or how would you?
I'm
just curious.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So it'd be pretty good to throw some local sites in, I'm sure. So maybe if there could be a geography component, that would be great too.
Or something that's just getting a lot of traffic. I don't know. That whole vegetable thing I think is interesting. It's how do you determine what a good wet vegetable is?
Right. And so how would you analyze the text to be like, this is high quality text,
Right.
as opposed to something that's not very good? So even if it's just URL, somebody has to create a list. I don't know the answer to that. So. One other one that you guys might be interested in is called Local Angle. And we showed this one off last year here, and it was in the same state that it's in now. So the idea here is that there are a lot of people and entities that are interested in the town. So we're in Evanston at Northwestern University. From Evanston is Eddie Vedder, who is the singer for Pearl Jam. And so there's probably no local reporters who are tracking Eddie Vedder every move, but if he does something cool, local people want to know about it, it's the local sun. So this tool attempts to tell you that these are the people associated with this area who have made news recently. So we can go to Illinois and look at each city. So is there anyone from Evanston who's made the news? Yeah, Northwestern. So Northwestern's based there, so here's some news about Northwestern. Larry Hicks, I have no idea, but he was born there, and he's made some news recently. This guy, I think, is a baseball player. Ericus?
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Good thinking. And then this guy is what, hockey? So it links you to the news story that they've been mentioned in. So probably pretty cool for a local publisher. At the moment, you have to go to the site and physically search for your town. So like the reporter in Evanston would go, Evanston, who's made news from Evanston. We've talked about doing like, you can sign up for a list maybe. So if you're a reporter in Aurora, Illinois, for example, you could say, when there's something about Aurora, or some news about somebody from Aurora, send me the links. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. I mean, I've seen it before, and I always want to know if you're going to set up at least maybe some form of RSS feed or newsletter, something very, doesn't have to be exact, to where it says, reminder, today, the RSS feed will be posted to the local angle, because this one category of things that I don't remember to check it. There's much I'm going to find out this because it's not going to come in.
Sure.
Wouldn't mind knowing.
We might. I mean, I think that part of the way that the lab works is that we try to take ideas that people are really excited about and make them shiny if they're worthwhile. So this is one of those things where we know people are kind of interested, but how many are really interested? So I can't answer your question about whether we're do it or not, but we'll definitely think about it. And I think that's kind of it, unless you guys want to watch me click through our projects some more. I think that's sort of what we've got. It's interesting. What do you think? Yes, sir.
The timeline is great. We've used it.
Cool.
We got lucky and got access to trial evidence.
Oh, nice.
So I put it all up on timeline.
What's your site?
You don't have to call it, but it's really, can I give you a chance? But I'm just saying, if you can get recordings, I mean, it does all this great stuff.
That's good.
We actually set it up a little bit odd because our column, this is a good question actually, or maybe a suggestion for site owners. You might want to use it with a wide template because our site is limited to 488 pixels in our content area, and it's a little bit tight for the timeline to embed. So we use I think it's a lightbox tool that pops stuff up into a larger window, like a pop-up tool to embed it. But it's tremendous. People ate it up.
Yeah, so that's a good note to make. And so you can see here, this is the VH1 site. It's a narrow instance of timeline. The functionality is the same, but it's much smaller than it is on most sites. It's also responsive, so any viewport basically you have, it'll conform to that. So on mobile, tablets, and desktop, it works equally as well.
It kind of creates a different look if you've got a really narrow area that turns into more of a vertical product, which is fine.
Does anyone doing obituaries with the timeline?
Not that I've seen, but I'm sure there's one out there, and that's a really good idea, actually. I wonder. Yeah, I mean, it would be great. I mean, that's a really rich obituary. People would love that, right? People love photos so much, and you can tell a whole story, include a bunch of media. That would be awesome.
It's actually on our product development list for our obit.
Did you? Really? You should definitely let us know when you do that. That's awesome. Yeah, it's really simple. It's free to use. So give it a look.
What do you have in the works? I mean, what do you think is going to come out next? What's the next big toy?
What's the next big one? So, the Slimformation thing is not really for publishers. It's more for consumers. So here's a secret project that's just getting developed. It's been done by this guy, Zach Wise, who is the guy who built Timeline. He's this really smart dude with the New York Times. He's started his career as a picture drawing animator, decided he wanted to be a documentarian, went to film school, I believe. Ended at the Las Vegas Sun, and then got to the New York Times. Was I love making videos, but I also want to make everything around them. So he's just a really super bright guy. He's got a lot of skills, including web design. So this is his next creation that we're collaborating on with. It's called StoryMap.js. and it basically takes a narrative that has a strong geographic component and allows you to tell that story. So let's say there was a car chase. You're going to have to use your imagination with this one. Here's a video of somebody at the start of the car chase. You click through, it's like, oh my gosh, and then the next piece of action happened here, and then here they ran over someone, here is the next part, and then here is where they finally crashed. So basically a way to tell stories with a geographic component that includes rich media. And all the media here is the same that it is in timeline media. It's integrated with the same.
So it looks like you're taking Google Maps and adding it to timeline.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, that's not a bad way to do it. Currently, timeline isn't, or Google Maps is integrated with timeline, but it's not sort of a panning and zooming. I mean, I guess every instance here, if you want to have a geographical tie.
Is that already on GitHub?
It could be. I don't think it is, but it might be. To learn about our projects, so projects.nightlab.com is the way to go. But if you're savvy, you want to know, we're at GitHub, and our profile is Nightlab. So you can find us on GitHub, and that's where you can pull all the code from and see how things are built. Yes, ma'am?
If we have an idea for you guys to work on, how do we give that to you?
Yeah, so,
We need calendars. We need a calendar app. You guys are so awesome at taking complex information and presenting it in a digestible, visual format that's embeddable. And, you know, somebody brought this up earlier. We need a calendar that represents, you know, like ongoing events, something that happens every Tuesday at 7 o'clock, or something that's happening over 4 days, alongside or along with events that are just happening today.
Sure.
That people that have more than one website, like you wouldn't have to enter it on all your websites. They would all, you could like somehow, it's just, there's been some third-party things that have been done, but they just don't cut it.
Nothing does it right. That's a really interesting idea, and I think that's probably really well suited for a lot of people. So
It's complex. Like my web developer has taken a stab at it, but it's really hard. Calendar just sounds easy, but it's actually really hard to do all the and that's why it doesn't exist. If it was easy, it would already exist.
Yeah, so to answer your first question, how do you get in touch with us? You can write us at nightlab.northwestern.edu or nightlab@northwestern.edu. And pitch us an idea that way. Reach out to us on Twitter, grab me afterwards and say, hey, this is a cool idea, I'd love to see you guys work on it, and we'd be a willing test case or partner in that. One of the things that you just mentioned, one of the aspects of the project that you just talked about is what's really hard to find sometimes. It's like, it's got to be maybe a cool project for you, but everybody has to benefit. So we try to build tools, even though there's a specific use case in mind, or maybe even a specific site. They've got to be, everyone's got to be able to take advantage of them.
Right.
It's got to be a common problem, I guess. So that's it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome.